actually you're losing all the really cool information or data that you need to actually ride successful rides because your focus has become so narrow.
Happy Monday. So happy to have you here. I am mega excited today because I am leaving for my first official event of the season. How are you doing today, Lorna?
I'm great, thank you. Super excited for you. I had my first event of the season last week. So, yeah, spring has sprung and 2026 is up.
So exciting. If this is the first episode that you're listening to, then make sure you hit the follow button so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. And today, Lorna, we're going to talk about focus. How to ensure that we focus on the right things. And when we say right things, what we are meaning is the things that are helpful to your performance. So there are a bunch of not so helpful things, quote unquote, the wrong things that tends to slip into our attention. Do you have any, Lorna, examples of this to start off with, to kind of explain to people where we're going?
Yeah, I think it usually shows up when things feel a bit challenging or not as easy as expectations are not as easy as you expect them to be. And I think sometimes it's not about losing our focus. If I think about my own situation, it's not about losing. I don't become distracted and then lose focus. I start trying too hard when things are not working out or not the way that I hope they are. So, as you all know, we did a bit of different training last year to try and get Alfie to sit and not run with me and all the rest of it. And we went through that whole messy middle that we love to talk about. And for me, the distraction came from, this shouldn't feel so hard. We should be better than this. Why is this happening? And I can't then see my distances and yada, yada, yada. And then you start fiddling and messing around and why are we doing this and all the rest of it. So actually, for me, it becomes that I start over trying. Like I start trying so hard because I think I should be better than that. I should be able to fix it out. And actually, it generally makes things way worse. But what do you think? Have you had a similar experience?
Yeah, many times. Yeah. Yeah, the focus, like our focus, it's kind of often subconsciously drifts away to other things, I think. To those distractions. And they can be, like you say, mental distractions. It can be thoughts popping up in our head. It can be more physical distractions. Someone calling out something on the sideline or another horse entering the arena, or they can be physical distractions. But what often happens, I think, is when those physical distractions pop up, they also turn into mental distractions in your head. You kind of, like, there can be other people in the arena, for example. But that might not necessarily be a distraction unless you think, oh, what are those people going to think? Like I had an experience last week as well. I was going jumping with Queenie, and she was quite strong and quite running a little bit. And I got to a point where I actually turned a circle and I was like, okay, horse, wait. And, there were other people in the arena at the point, and I was like, oh man, what are they going to think? Like that little girl and that huge horse, and what is she even doing stepping into a 125 when she can't hold one side of her horse? And that then becomes a distraction, 100%, like you say. And then you start trying really, really hard to, make sure you have your horse under control, to kind of quote unquote prove that I've got this and I'm gonna fix this and I'm gonna show this horse that I'm the master. I think that's for me when I think about distractions, something that recently came into my head for sure.
I think exactly what you're saying. Our attention then becomes very narrow. It becomes very rigid. So your awareness shrinks, so all the awareness that we talk about, awareness of your body, your horse, your rhythm, even space around you, we start to zoom in on that one thing. And, it can be a physical thing. Like with distances, we start zooming in on a fence, when we think we can't see one. Or like you say, that whole distraction thing of what are people going to think of me? And you zoom in and you hone in on that one thing and your awareness. So it's a bit like tunnel vision. Like you get that tunnel vision of, oh my God, I can't do this. People are going to think I'm shit, yada, yada, yada. And then you've forgotten all the cool awareness points that are actually going to help you to concentrate better. So actually you're losing all the really cool information or data that you need to actually ride successful rides because your focus has become so narrow.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And it can also be things like, obviously, if your horse is running with you, the narrow focus that you tend to get is just like the horse needs to stop and the horse needs to wait and you need to have that
Yeah.
control and you start pulling because, yeah, that's the natural response, right? For a lot of
Yeah.
us, if a horse starts running, we'll start pulling in the reins and you become so obsessed with, like you say, that narrow focus, obsession with like the horse needs to take my half out. It needs to take my half out.
Yeah.
And then because you get so obsessed with that, you forget, like you say, all your other things, like, potentially your body or, riding to a turn, or you just become so honed in and so obsessed with getting the horse to wait, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I love that as well. And I think you could become so locked into like things like you're saying, this needs to feel better. I need to get this
Yeah.
right. This isn't working. And like your situation's not changed. It's your attention that's actually changed. And I think that is the cool thing. Like we're not responding anymore. Like we've actually decided, not on purpose, but subconsciously, we're now holding on to this idea in our minds. So our attention is just locked into that
Mhm.
instead of the experience that we're actually in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It's almost like, when you have a camera and you can zoom in on different things, it's like, what
Yeah.
the thing that you zoom in on becomes really, really sharp and the other things become fuzzy. I think it's a really good comparison because that is really how it works as well. Like one thing will become really sharp and a little bit bigger and you can see it
Yeah.
so clearly and all the rest becomes fuzzy. Now, what does not work in that situation is to be like, okay, I'm not going to focus on this because every time we like, because usually people will be like, yeah, don't worry about your distance or don't worry so much about like, working like ride, like don't pull. Like that is such a typical thing. Don't pull. you
Yeah.
know? But
Yeah.
anytime someone says something that you shouldn't be, we talked about this in the past on the podcast, every time someone says, don't focus on that or not to do something, what happens in our brain?
Yeah.
It focuses in on it even harder because in order to think about not doing things, you need to first think about doing the thing. So you kind of have to exerting extra effort to first like think about the thing and then think about not thinking about the thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that when you talk about distances, that is probably the biggest thing we hear is people struggling to see their distances. But when we become so zoomed in on that level of concentration of this is like I need to see this distance, we've lost or you have lost your feel for the thing that creates your distances, your canter or
Yeah.
whatever it is, because we become so honed in. So your attention shrinks on everything else that's round about you. Your attention gets stuck and we become so locked into one thing. And it doesn't matter whether it's a person, it doesn't matter whether it's a distance, it doesn't matter whether your horse is pissing off with you, it doesn't matter. Everything then starts to feel hard. Like everything starts to become harder. So
Yeah,
you've not
because
lost your feel. I think that's the cool thing. Sorry, I interrupted you. Is you've not lost your feel, you've lost your attention.
100%. Yeah, I love that. I love that. You've lost your what or your mind has slipped away with you. It started focusing on things that aren't helpful. And when I think about that, you've started focusing on a result rather than the process in order to create that result. Distances for
Yeah,
me,
100%.
that is a result. That is a result. There's a consequence of me riding my horse in balance, ensure she's on her hind leg, ensure she has a powerful canter, ensuring I'm on my line, that I'm in balance, that I'm looking at her. That is the process. And then if I'm doing all those things, then the result is usually that the distances work out, right?
Mm.
Same thing with other people. Like, here's the thing. You cannot control what other people are thinking, but your best chance at doing it is just riding your horse. And like, but then what happens is, I get focused on like, what is he going to think? And to show off some kind of, some kind of result. But here's the thing, because I'm getting so focused on that, I am like exactly what you're saying. I'm not longer feeling my horse. I'm not tuning into her signals. I am no longer responding to how to get that result. I get so honed in on the result. So I think it's really a matter of, in those situations, recognizing that your focus has moved to the result, to a consequence, to a distraction, to an unhelpful element. And then ask yourself, how can you move it back to the process? How can you move it back to something that you're feeling, something that you're seeing, so that you have something that you can do which is actually inside of your control?
Yeah, and I think exactly what you're saying there. It's not this one thing that's going to fix everything. It's being able to step back into your system, because we're obviously all about processes and systems and all that kind of thing. So you've actually just left your system for a moment because of whatever's
I
happened. And
love
I think
that.
sometimes in the middle of the ride, it's that pressure. Like, I need this to work out. I need to have this good distance. I need to feel this better. And as soon as these thoughts start to get busy in our mind, it's narrowed our attention in on that thing. And every part of that has made us leave our system.
Love that.
So it's not the outcome that distracts you. It just shrinks your attention in that moment. And I think if we can all be aware that it is taking your attention, I always say it's not over till it's over. We can all screw up. We can all mess up. We can all miss a distance. We can all do whatever. But it's not over till it's over. You can actually train your mind to get your attention back on the present moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do we do that?
Better quality attention.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because that's what I was leading, like, and that is choosing something that is
Yeah.
helpful in the moment, right? Because again, like I started referring to before, like to tell yourself to not focus on something is not going to work, right? What does work? It's to give your mind something else to focus on. Give your mind another task. Give your mind another, like, so you can move your focus. It's almost like I always talk about, like, how you to switch, on a TV or on a radio. If you're on a channel that you don't like, you can just choose to switch to another channel. So it's the same with
Yeah.
focus. If you're having a focus that is not helpful at the moment, choose to focus on one that is helpful, right? Choose to switch your channel, and then what to switch your channel towards. Yeah, that could be anything. The goal isn't really to perfect another point. Like you said, the goal is really just to become, like, step back into your system, become present again. So anything that is like something that will bring you helpful information on what's actually happening in the moment, helping you feel something, helping you see something, anything is going to help you step back into the present.
Yeah. Let's do a trick that I do sometimes with one-on-one clients, because I think when we're in narrow focus, like, we grip, we control, we override. So here we go. This is good for YouTube. Probably if you're listening on the podcast, you're going to think we're nuts, but you know we're nuts anyway. Hard stare with your eyes, like really stare at me with your eyes. And then stick your tongue on the roof of your mouth at the same time. How does that, how does that feel?
Not very good. Very
Okay.
tense.
Then take and then take a big deep breath. And then breathe out. And then pick one point, your feel, your rhythm, your hind legs, like you always talk about. Like, notice the difference of what actually happens in your body. For me, that's the trick that gives us our choice back. So rather than we're in this threat mode, we then suddenly can go into challenge mode and actually have a plan and bring your awareness point back and all that kind of stuff that actually helps you in the moment.
So basically do a reset, like basically take a deep breath.
It says to your nervous system, hey, we're safe here. Because I think that's the really important thing. When we're in that threat mode, essentially, or we're in panic mode, or whatever that looks like, we're breathing high up into our chest. Like, we have that narrow, hard, like we're staring in for that distance, praying to God that this might actually work out. But everything then becomes tense. Like, we start controlling our strides, we start overriding or underriding or whatever that looks like. For me, the key gold bit of information is we have to say, you can't think yourself out of it. Cannot think yourself out of a nervous system reaction. So we almost have to reset our nervous system to be like, hey, it's okay. Like, we're safe. We're okay here. And then be like, what's the plan? So then for me, that's when we can put the awareness point back in place, because we've actually said to ourselves, we're safe here. We're okay here. Actually, even 3 things you can see, because if you're narrow focused in on that concentration, just pick 3 things you can see. So widen your focus. We talk about hard eyes and soft eyes. So you can see, I don't know, a tree over there. You can see your friends over there on their horse, and you can see a nice tree in the other direction. And that instantly just broadens your vision, rather than being hard staring in on, oh my God, I can't see the distance. And quite often when we look away and look back, suddenly there's something there in front of you anyway. It's taking your mind out of that narrowed in awareness.
So basically just that's a really cool exercise as well. Like, if you look at one point ahead of you, right, and you only look at that one thing, And then you keep looking at that thing, but you also start noticing what you can see in your peripheral vision. And it's surprisingly
Yeah.
much, actually. But if we have that narrow focus, we don't really see that. Like we will be so honed in on that one thing that is just ahead of us and the thing that we're staring at. But just by doing the exercise of just start to notice what is actually in your peripheral vision. So like even now I'm looking at you on a computer, I can see my other screen. I can see my whiteboard over here. I can see my wardrobe like closets over here. Like it's not like I'm still looking straight at you, but I can still see them. And that in itself is widening your focus.
And I think that is a key piece of information. Your eyes and your nervous system are linked together. So if you're hard staring in at something and you're like, shit, I can't see this, like we're going to end up in the middle of this, your nervous system will start to shut down. Like it is going to go into panic mode. So the quickest little tip you can do, exactly what you're saying, is broaden your vision. Just make your eyes soft, like just take them somewhere else. And like you say, even when you're looking at me, you can see in front of you, you can see to the sides, you can see above you, you can see behind you. So you can actually be way more aware of space rather than just exactly what's in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is going to help you relax indeed, instead of going from that hard stare to
And
the,
return to your feel.
yeah.
What can I feel right now? Because it's, it's your feel that's going to fix it. It's not your thinking. It's your feel, that your system, your process, that's going to allow you to reconnect with what's going on.
Yeah.
And then maybe
I
a
think,
wee anchor.
mm,
Sorry.
no, I think also this is very much depending also on if you are a visual person, or a kinesthetic person, or an
Yeah.
auditory person, and where you notice yourself getting off, like hard focus, where you notice yourself getting obsessed. If it's a visual thing that is getting your hard focus, oftentimes that happens with me when I'm like staring at my face just to hope to get a distance because I'm staring really hard at my
100.
fence. Um, in that case, it can be good to do that visual exercise that we just talked about. Just notice what's in your peripheral vision, right? If it's more of a feeling thing, right? If you're getting too honed in on the feeling in your hands, for example, the rain pressure, right? Then just move, like just widen your feel by feeling something else. Notice other things that you are feeling, like what's the pressure between your horse and the leg? What is the rhythm in your horse? Like anything that you can feel, like the wind against
Yeah.
your face, like anything that you can feel. And if there's something more auditory that is taking your attention, like someone shouting something on the side, maybe you're hearing something that you're getting obsessive with, right? Then choose something else, like widen your auditory focus. Like what else are you hearing? Are there birds actually chirping in the background? Is there some kind of music going on? What other noises can you hear? And therefore just widen your focus. So that's also a really cool exercise to just test with widening your focus, whether that is visually, kinesthetic, or auditory. And then you can also actually start to narrow it down again on something else, for example. And that is a really cool moment where you realize that you can actually steer your focus in that way.
Yeah, 100%. And it's never about trying harder, huh? It's becoming more aware. We always say that
Yeah.
everything starts with awareness. Be aware of actually what you're paying attention to in the first place, because sometimes we're not even aware what we're paying attention to. Like
No,
we're
that's the thing.
off. So I would always say, notice what's happening. See if you can widen your focus in whichever system that you're actually in, and then come back to the present moment, and things will gradually start to feel a bit easier again. So it's really
Yeah.
not your horse that's changed, it's us. Like I always say that, suddenly I think that in my own rounds, when you go in to jump your ring, you've had a brilliant warm up and then they become a little bit strong when you go in the ring or something changes. It's normally not the horse. Like it's normally something in
Mm,
us that has
mm,
actually changed. So just ask yourself that question. Like, am I in narrow focus, which like is on an outcome, a fence, like whatever that is, or am I in wide attention right now?
mhm, mhm. Yeah, and here's the thing. If what you're focusing on at the moment isn't really working and you're not getting the
Yeah.
results that you want, just test any other focus. Make it wide, make it
Yeah.
narrow, make it wide or make it narrow into something else. Because here's the thing, your focus determines your performance. Like your focus determines everything. So what you focus on is also what's going to have the, end effect. So if you're not getting the end result that you want, just test anything else. Like it doesn't really matter what. Just test something else. And I guarantee you're going to get a slightly different result from that.
And I think that's the key thing. Even if it's slightly different, that's a win. Like it doesn't have to be like, that's it, I've got it, because you have to watch that, because then our mind starts judging again, I've got the thing, and then when you go the next time and you can't get that
Yeah.
through, then we go back into that spiral and that loop again. So I always say we're just looking for teeny tiny marginal gains, or KPIs, or whatever you want to call them, like just teeny tiny things that is almost like another piece of the puzzles come together.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I'm not sure how to even summarize this episode. We went from high to low, from left to right, as we usually do. But what I would say, if you have any
Space and
questions,
awareness and focus and everywhere.
if you have any questions about any of the things that we did touch upon, do let us know. You can find our contact details in the show notes, either via email or via Instagram. And other than that, we're just wishing you an amazing week. Lorna, did you have something else that you wanted to add today?
No, if you have any questions on this, you can drop us a DM. If you want us to answer something on the podcast, then again, just let us know, and we'll be more than happy to help you.
Awesome. And as always, we're gonna challenge you to start making strides in your mindset so you can truly make strides in your writing. And we will see you on the next Magical Monday.